join us. We wanted to say a quick hello using the video. We will be turning the video off. Okay, so today we'll be talking about easy ways to utilize both the EatFresh.org mini course and the mini course for educators with staff and volunteers. Today we'll cover an introduction to Leah's Pantry for those of you who aren't familiar. We'll provide an overview of the EatFresh.org mini course and the mini course for educators, and general ways to utilize these resources with staff and volunteer onboarding, education, and wellness. Part of this will include a live Q&A with a partner of ours, which we're really excited about. We'll also cover best practices and effective strategies for integrating these resources, including additional partner examples. We will also share some resources to support your integration strategies. And finally, we're hoping to leave some time for Q&A at the end. This webinar is designed to be interactive, so we'll have you answer poll questions and also type ideas or questions into the chat box. So please chime in. So before we jump into the content, we want to quickly introduce Leah's Pantry. So Leah's Pantry was founded in San Francisco in 2006, which means we're approaching our 12th anniversary this fall. Our mission is to promote healthier lives among vulnerable populations through innovative, community-based nutrition and cooking programs. To put it simply, we believe that everyone deserves nourishing meals every day. This can be a challenge for all of us and is especially a challenge for people with limited resources. So we create cooking and nutrition resources specifically for low-income communities and the organizations that serve them, like all of you. We accomplish our mission to promote healthier lives through 3 strategies. First, we work directly with low-income individuals to support sustained healthy behavior changes related to food choices, cooking, and shopping, innovative programs that address many client barriers. Second, we work with organizations that serve low-income individuals to build their capacity to integrate effective nutrition support. Check out our website for more information on upcoming trainings near you. And today's webinar is an example of this type of work. Third, we ensure that the right tools exist to make these programs effective. We develop cutting-edge online nutrition education tools, community-driven recipes and cookbooks, and innovative curriculum to use both within our own programs and also to share with others. Our programs are based on stages of change. The basic premise is that people need to be ready to receive information in order to be actionable and influence, or in order for it to be actionable and influence behavior. Our goal is to move people from not thinking about their diet to thinking about it and on to taking action. A few things that we like about the EatFresh.org mini course is that it covers a variety of topics and people can take those topics in order of interest. Also, the certificates received after completing 5 topics offers motivation. Both of these aspects of the mini course are relevant for and can motivate people across the spectrum of stages of change. Next, Anna is going to give you a quick overview of the EatFresh.org mini course and the mini course for educators. But first, we'd love to get a sense of your familiarity with the resources we're covering today. We're going to bring up poll questions for everyone to answer. So the questions are, how familiar are you with the EatFresh.org mini course? Your options are, I've never heard of the mini course, I've completed at least 1 topic, or I'm a pro, I've completed at least 10 topics of the 15 total. And then the second question is, how familiar are you with the EatFresh.org mini course for educators? I've never heard of the mini course for educators. The next option is, I've completed a topic or 2, or I'm a pro, I've completed all 5 topics. We'll give you another 30 seconds or so to answer. Great, answers are coming in. We'll give it a little more time. Okay, great. Let's see what those results are. Okay.
From our poll, I can see that some of you are familiar with the mini course. That's great. And it looks like the group is a little more familiar with the EatFresh.org mini course for educators, which is even greater. And if you have either mini course, that's okay. You will be after this webinar. I'm going to start off by providing a brief description of both the EatFresh.org mini course and mini course for educators. The EatFresh.org mini course was inspired by feedback from our low-income audience and staff partner organizations in a 2014 evaluation. We found that 71% of SNAP-eligible EatFresh.org users had never attended an in-person nutrition workshop. This indicated an unmet need in the California SNAP Ed program, so we built and launched the mini course in 2016. The mini course is available in English and Spanish and is mobile friendly. We're currently updating it to make it perform better on mobile devices. Also, we're engaging in user testing this summer to learn more about how our users interact with the mini course. The mini course leverages the SNAP Ed content from EatFresh.org and is narrative-based. You follow the lives of characters as they navigate a variety of nutrition and food resource management topics. There are 3 sections, each with 5 topics. Section is Nutrition Basics, which includes the topics finding low-sodium foods using the nutrition label, how much sugar is in your favorite drink, do you eat the rainbow, can you identify these healthy whole grains, and easy meal makeovers. The next section is Creating Wholesome Meals, which includes the topics Eating a healthy breakfast is easier than you think, What's your portion IQ? Learn to make easy and delicious turkey chili, Making soup is easy, and Get smart about your health goals. And the last section is Planning and Shopping, which includes the topics Keep food fresh for longer with EatFresh.org, Outsmart the grocery store, Easy meatless meals using EatFresh.org, Planning holidays with EatFresh.org, and Breastfeeding means mom and baby eating right. While the mini course was designed for SNAP eligible users, we're finding that it has been a really helpful resource for partner staff and volunteers, hence today's webinar.
Oh, thanks for providing that feedback, Marianne. Yes, Anna can speak up.
Oh, sorry. We'll explain more how it can be utilized in just a bit, but first we want to share more on the mini course for educators. Okay. The EatFresh.org mini course for educators was created in late 2016 to support educators. Like the mini course, it's available in English and Spanish and is mobile friendly. The 5 topics for educators focus on different aspects related to leading efficient and effective classes using SNAP Ed messaging, adult learning theories, and facilitation best practices. The topics also incorporate ideas on how to utilize specific resources from our Food Smarts curriculum and EatFresh.org to complement your programming. Each topic takes about 2 minutes to complete, so they're longer than the general mini course topics, which take between 5 to 10 minutes to complete each one. The topics include focus on fruits and vegetables, choosing whole foods, great classes for all ages, emphasizing balance and variety, and skills for smarter consumer, which all relate to leading a great nutrition class. Next, we're going to show you a short demo of one of the mini course for educators activities. This comes from the Choosing Whole Foods topic.
Okay, give us a minute as we share our screen. Okay, great. For some reason, give us a second. The volume, let's just refresh this. Okay, it's making us go back. It's from choosing whole foods. Yes.
Whole natural foods are part of any healthy eating pattern. Increasing consumption of whole foods, especially whole grains, is a major goal of Food Smarts and other nutrition education programs. In this topic, you will learn to help nutrition workshop participants identify and cook with whole foods. This topic also provides key background, such as shopping and cooking tips and facts about related nutrients. Models how to respond confidently to frequently asked questions, even if you don't know a lot about nutrition. Gives ideas for successful recipe demonstration, including how to adapt recipes for participant tastes and intolerances.
Okay, before we move on to the next screen, I want to quickly check. Can everyone hear that? If someone can just type into the chat box, that would be great. Wonderful. Okay, thank you so much. Okay, we'll go to the next one.
Today, you'll be learning from an experienced nutrition teacher, Kim. Kim is a community educator who has been teaching nutrition and cooking workshops for 5 years.
The American diet contains many refined or processed foods, but whole foods are more nutritious than refined foods. Whole foods have not been processed much or had nutrients removed. For example, a fresh orange is a whole food with all its vitamins. Orange soda, on the other hand, is a refined or processed food with few vitamins and lots of added sugar. There are many reasons participants may choose refined foods instead of natural whole foods. It's easy to get confused about what whole foods are. This bread is brown. Does that mean it's whole wheat? Some people do not know how to cook. I'd probably burn these eggs if I tried cooking them. I'll just eat sugar puffs for breakfast instead. Whole foods may seem expensive or hard to get.
How can I fill up with only $6? I'll grab a burger meal. It's probably cheaper and quicker than going to the grocery store for sandwich stuff.
Some people like the reliability of processed foods.
Last time I bought an apple here. It had no flavor. Chips aren't as good for me, but at least I know I'll like the taste.
One way to explore whole foods is to have participants examine and identify whole grain and bean samples. The Food Smarts workbook contains a great activity related to this on page 29.
Identify and increase whole grains.
Talking about whole grains and their benefits is one way to help participants choose nutritious whole foods. Has anyone ever heard the saying, make half your grains whole? Whole grains have not had any nutrients taken away. Whole grains, like whole wheat, have more nutrients in them than refined grain foods like white pasta. Some common whole grains you may know about are whole wheat and brown rice. Does anyone know of any other whole grains? Barley,
Oatmeal. Quinoa.
lentils? You guys know a lot. Barley, oats, and quinoa are all examples of whole grains. Lentils aren't though. They're a legume like chickpeas and kidney beans, but I can imagine why you would guess that. Good thinking.
All grain foods contain carbohydrates. There are 3 types:
Okay, we'll stop here. I think you got a decent sense of kind of what that topic is like, and we stopped it right before there was an interactive quiz where the user has to identify different parts of a whole grain. Okay, let's get back to presentation. Okay.
All right. Like this one, most topics include frequently asked questions. In this case, common client barriers to eating whole foods and reasons for eating processed foods. The facilitator, Kim, then demonstrates how to introduce the concept of whole grains, how to get participants excited about whole foods by sharing delicious and easy recipes from EatFresh.org. Then finally, how to identify and reduce added sugars. Kim walks through activities you can lead in this class, facilitation best practices, and resources associated with each section. Something to note, the video references Food Smart's curriculum. Since we recently refreshed this curriculum, we are in the process of updating the page numbers and handouts referenced in the mini course for educators. Moving on, we want to get into some of the nitty-gritty of how each course can be accessed and some important differences between the two courses. The mini course portal can be accessed from the EatFresh.org homepage here. It's the pink box between applying for CalFresh and the video on the mini course. Then, right at the mini course landing page. Once you click Start/Continue this course, it'll bring you to the login page. Anyone who wants to enroll in the mini course or mini course for educators must create an account by providing their username, creating a password, and providing some additional demographic information. To access the mini course for educators, the referral code TEACH must be entered during account. In addition to enrolling you in the general course and mini course for educators, using the referral code TEACH allows you to do a few things that standard users cannot. One, the first thing is that you will bypass the pre-test questionnaire in the mini course labeled the check-in questionnaire. You are also able to take topics in any order. Standard users, which will be explained in just a minute. Making sure that all partner staff who work with low-income populations use the referral code TEACH is important for us for two reasons. It means an easier user experience for you and our partners, and the use of the referral code TEACH is really important to Leah's Pantry as well. Using this referral code means that the partner's data is kept separate from SNAP-eligible users. Basically, we don't want partners to complete the pre- and post-tests and have that data become a part of the impact evaluation we do for the mini course. We want to make sure that we're only looking at SNAP-eligible users. If you didn't use the referral code TEACH because you created an account before we even had the mini course for educators, or because you just forgot, just let us know and we can manually add the referral code to your account, and we can also enroll you in the mini course for educators. Just reach out to Danielle at leahspantrysf.org.
In 1 second, Carol, we see your question. That's a great question. And we will answer that at the end because that's a good one for everyone to know.
Okay. Now we want to talk about users' experience who do not use the referral code TEACH, or they use an organizational specific referral code. We're talking about volunteers or clients access the mini course. They will go through the same account creation process. Clients and volunteers will not use a referral code unless your agency requests a unique code from us to track volunteer or client participation. In case any of you are unfamiliar with referral codes, we can create one specific to your organization so that you can track how many clients or volunteers are using the mini course. how many topics they've completed and in what order, how much time they're spending on the mini course, and so forth. We share this data with you quarterly. Just reach out to Danielle if you want to learn more about referral codes. Before beginning the topics, participants must fill out a short pre-test questionnaire, the check-in questionnaire. Once the questionnaire is complete, the first 5 topics are unlocked. Users can take them in any order and track their progress as they go. When the first 5 topics are complete, the post-test questionnaire called Nutrition Basics Follow-up must be completed before unlocking the first certificate of completion and the remaining 10 topics. Users can earn up to 3 certificates of completion throughout the mini course. Here's a screenshot of what these users' dashboard will look like. As you can see, the text for the questionnaire is dark, as that is the only thing they will have access to. Once they have completed the questionnaire, the first 5 topics will be available, and the text will be black like the questionnaire is now. Just to summarize about the use of referral codes, the referral code TEACH is designed for staff at organizations who work with low-income clients. It's particularly relevant to nutrition educators or anyone else who will be leading a nutrition education activities at your site. Using agency's referral code or no referral is great for PSE work or also volunteers.
And actually, Carol, we'll answer your question now because it does fit in with this. What we'll do moving forward is create a specific referral code like CCCSR and then -teach for your staff, or even CCCR SR staff, just so we differentiate, again, staff data from the user data, and also enroll you specifically in the mini course for educators, which kind of has all the benefits that Anna just explained to you all. Carol, does that make sense? Or does anyone else have a question about that? Great. Wonderful.
Okay. Danielle is now going to demo how to create a new account using the referral code TEACH. To create, as we mentioned, to create a new...
Give us a minute as we load that page. Okay.
Okay. As we mentioned, a user needs to choose a username and password, and then enter an email address, name, and location information. Okay. Below, you will see a space for a referral code. Again, you'll be using the referral code TEACH. Once you arrive on the login screen,
to answer a few more questions. Okay, let's create this account. Great, it's been created.
Okay, once you arrive on the login screen, you can change the language in the drop-down at the top right-hand side of the screen to English or Spanish. You can also change the language at any time while taking the course. You then will arrive at the course dashboard and see 5 topics of the mini course for educators. Below that, you'll see the general mini course. In this section, you don't even have access to the pre and post questionnaires. You can take any of the 15 topics at any time. We recognize that this is a little confusing, so we want to make sure everyone understands. So does anyone have any questions about using the referral code TEACH and how that allows different access? Or any other questions about organization referral codes or logging in?
We see someone typing. We'll wait to see if a question comes in. Okay, is there a way to reset the courses in my account so that I can use my account to have my kids take the course? Or must they each create a new account? Ideally, everyone is creating a new account so then that we can then, track their data. But we have had facilitators use their own account to have, students or youth, use their account. And in terms of why would you want to reset it? Because you can just have them kind of retake, all the topics over, even though you've taken it before. Okay, great. Yeah, you can definitely, the beautiful thing, I'm just responding to what Carol said, okay, it will allow that, perfect. Yeah, you can take the mini course topics as much as you want. You can take them 20 times, like the more the better. And so yes, it's good to call out that sometimes it isn't feasible to create accounts depending on who you're working with. If you're working with people who don't have their own emails or just doesn't feel appropriate to make their own account, then yes, you can use your own. Also, one thing that would be great though is if they're not creating their own account, it would be great if you could gather any feedback from them. So what did they like? What didn't they like? What did they learn? Because we aren't getting that data through the pre and post questionnaire, it would be great to get that qualitative data just from you, our partners, to see if, especially with youth, to get a better idea of what they liked and didn't like. That would be fantastic.
Okay, great. Thanks for that question, Carol. Now that everyone is familiar with how to access each course, Danielle is going to share the two main ways the mini course and mini course for educators can be utilized.
Great, thank you, Anna. So there are two primary ways to utilize mini course and mini course for educators with staff and volunteers. So the first way is for staff and volunteer training. Both the mini course and mini course for educators can be great training tools. With the mini course, in addition to teaching people nutrition basics, it also provides SNAP Ed approved language and messaging that staff or volunteers can use with clients. People will have increased knowledge around nutrition, cooking, and resource management, and they will also know how to talk about those things with clients in a simple, easy to understand way. With the mini course for educators, this covers a lot of facilitation and messaging best practices, as you saw from the short clip we shared. I think both of these resources can be useful for people who are newer to nutrition messaging and education, along with more experienced professionals. I think all of us at Leah's Pantry learned a few new things from both the mini course and the mini course for educators. And today we are lucky enough to have a partner with us who's going to share how her organization is using the mini course as a component of their staff onboarding and training. So Frannie, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. Before I ask you some questions, it'd be great if you could first introduce yourself, your work, and your organization.
Hi, so can everybody hear me all right? Yeah, great, awesome. So my name's Frannie Wong. I'm the Health and Nutrition Manager here at Children's Council of San Francisco. Our agency basically connects families to childcare in San Francisco, and through the Health and Nutrition Department, I manage two programs. One is the Child and Adult Food Program, and the other program is called Healthy Apples. So just really quickly about the two programs, the Child and Adult Food Program, if you're not already familiar with it, it's a federal food program where we partially reimburse childcare providers for serving healthy meals. And then Healthy Apple kind of supports that program where it looks at the built environment within the childcare site, working on policy systems and environmental changes. So we're using EatFresh, the EatFresh training for our food program providers, since there's an annual training that's required to the program. So it was a really great training that we thought we could offer to them to conduct online.
Great, wonderful. So thanks for the intro. And my first question is, and you explained a little bit about it right now, but so why did you choose the mini course? Or in other words, like what need did it fill?
Yeah, so we decided to use the mini course to fulfill the food program annual training requirements. Every year, there's a required training by the sponsor agency, so that's us, for the child care providers on various topics, including nutrition. Normally, we conduct those those trainings in person. However, it's pretty demanding for our staff to create and conduct these trainings, and it's also pretty hard for providers to dedicate a whole Saturday to come to our agency to attend the training. So we've heard feedback from our providers that they enjoy online training since they can complete it online, and that they don't have to spend an entire Saturday coming out to our agency because they all have very busy schedules.
Wonderful. It's nice to hear that the mini course kind of saved both your agency staff and providers some time. So how did you promote the mini course with your staff?
In terms of with our staff and our providers, we promoted it through an email online, and then we also sent out packets with flyers on how to register and complete the online training. And then we also conduct site visits throughout the year. So while the specialists are out at the child care site, we're also reminding them to complete the training.
Great. And so what worked or what didn't work in terms of promotion?
In terms of the promotion, I think the main challenge, we still have quite a few providers that aren't super tech savvy yet. So they're not really used to checking their emails that often. So a lot of those kind of slipped through. We also had some providers not receive the package that we sent. So things got lost in the mail. So we had to resend them the flyer or resend them the email. And also during the site visit, since we don't perform the site visits every month or very often, we don't really see them too often. So some of them may not have the information yet. So I think it's mostly the challenge of just getting the information to the providers because a lot of them aren't super tech savvy.
Okay, great. So given those challenges that you had, what, if anything, would you do differently next time?
I think just making sure that we're giving them enough time for them to complete the training. So this year we've given them about 3 months. We normally give them about 3 months, and right now we're seeing that not only about, I think, like a third of them have completed the training. So maybe next year to have the training go on for, or allow them to complete the training for a little bit longer time, just so we can either contact them or they have enough time to kind of be aware of the training and then complete it on their own.
Great. That makes sense. And so my final question is, what was the feedback from staff about the mini course?
So some staff feedback about the mini course. We've heard that the training is super interactive and interesting. Some feedback from our providers that are a little bit more tech savvy. They thought it was very user friendly, easy to access, and it wasn't overwhelmingly long. Sorry, like my tongue is still warming up this morning. So we've also received some specific comments about how providers have never really realized how important sodium was, or how the unit price can help you when you're buying groceries on a budget. The only thing that has been kind of confusing for providers is that when they receive the first certificate of completion for the nutrition basics, they think they've finished the entire training. So we've had to go back with a couple providers and explain to them that they have to complete all 3 parts to get the 3 total certificates at the end. But overall, we've had really positive comments about the training. It's super easy, and they find it not only rewarding for themselves, but also great for their kids.
Wonderful. So Frannie, thank you so much for taking the time to share. I think your story is such a great example of how to leverage the mini course. Before we jump to the next section, does anyone have questions for Frannie? I just asked a bunch of questions, but if you have any additional ones, please type them in. Okay, so I don't see any questions, but if anyone has any follow-up questions for Frannie, we can, definitely put you in touch. So thanks again, Frannie.
Thank you.
Okay, so moving on to the second way to utilize the mini course, which is for PSC and staff wellness activities. The information provided is, as we said, easy to understand and actionable. Staff can take the mini course at their leisure, so it can pair easily with other PSC and wellness activities. To offer some partner examples, for the past 2 years, the Boys and Girls Club of San Francisco has included the mini course as part of their annual wellness challenge for staff. If staff complete at least 5 topics of the mini course, they receive a certain amount of points towards the challenge. Another example comes from Adventist Health White Memorial Hospital in Los Angeles. They use the mini course as part of a staff wellness initiative, which culminated with an organization-wide biometric testing event. Staff received emails promoting the mini course, and anyone that completed at least 5 topics before the date of the biometric testing received a reusable grocery bag. And they're also currently highlighting the resource to their doctors who can refer patients to the mini course. So now that we've covered the basics to utilize the mini course and mini course for educators, we'd love to share some specific best practices related to implementation. So the mini course and mini course for educators can be integrated into the onboarding process. At Leah's Pantry, we have all new staff and interns complete both the mini course and mini course for educators. This is also the approach that Frannie from the Children's Council just shared as well. Integrating these courses into your onboarding process is a great way to institutionalize their use and ensure that all staff are familiar with and can benefit from the resources. The next practice is to integrate the mini course and mini course for educators into campaigns, ongoing meetings, or newsletters or events. So if you have an internal wellness campaign, this is a great opportunity to highlight the mini course since it promotes healthy eating. Newsletters are another opportunity. You can do a teaser to entice staff to take a certain topic of the mini course or mini course for educators. You can use the courses with ongoing meetings or staff retreats. Use them as a team building activity. Everyone can complete 1 topic per week, then discuss as a group. So related to what I just mentioned is the best practice of providing an opportunity for sharing feedback. Allowing people a chance to share and talk about the mini course or mini course for educators is important. Since the courses are completed alone, it's nice to have time to interact with one another, share and reflect on what they learned, what they liked, didn't like, and so forth. We have also run a taste test during the sharing and feedback sessions to incorporate some seasonal fruits and vegetables while we're discussing the course. It's also important to set deadlines. When implementing a course with a larger group, make sure you set a timeline for people to complete it. This can also be made into a competition. Have different departments or teams compete to see who can watch 5 topics or even all 15 first. Finally, ideally you can pair course completion with incentives. People get excited if there's a small incentive paired with an activity. Some examples of incentives that we've seen are reusable bags, food, or as taste tests as we mentioned, or even hosting potlucks. It can be a group effort. If funding is available, water bottles or pedometers might also be an option. So of the best practices we covered, which might be the most relevant to utilize within your organization, or can you think of additional best practices? Definitely share those as well. Please type your response in the chat box. And Robin, I'll respond to you in a second. That's a great question. So which of the best practices on the screen do you think you might be able to use the mini course or mini course for educators for? Yes, Carol, everyone loves incentives. They don't have to be big. They can be little things, but people appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
And great. I'm glad that you're thinking of using it as part of onboarding. We found that to be really kind of beneficial at Leah's Pantry. And again, the more familiar staff are with the resource, for example, the mini course, the easier it is to promote and share with clients as well. Great, Donna, that's a great idea in terms of using at the local food bank. We partner with another food bank who that is point based. So like the clients receive a certain amount of points for shopping, and the healthier items are less points. They're considering giving users or giving clients like an extra point or two for completing the mini course.
I see potlucks and healthy recipes. Very good. Food brings us together.
Hey, Christian, nice to see you. Providing opportunities for sharing feedback. Yeah, that's great. And pairing with a healthy recipe, wonderful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the point system. Donna, if you have any follow-up questions about that, don't hesitate, to reach out. So thank you so much for sharing those ideas. It's nice to see that some of them might be actionable. So we're coming to the last section of the webinar before the Q&A. If there are any remaining questions, Anna's going to share a few resources that might help with integration. And we're going to screen share again. So give us a second to set that up. Okay, and this time we'll be on EatFresh.org.
Okay, thank you, Danielle. So there are two resources I'd like to point out that may assist with using the mini course and mini course for educators with your staff and volunteers. These resources can be found in our toolkit. A quick way to access these materials is by going to eatfresh.org and on the main page under Resources for Providers. A quick side note that all of these materials are housed within Leah's Pantry's website, not eatfresh.org, because eatfresh.org is our client-facing site. All partner-related information will always be on our organizational site. It can be a bit confusing, so we always try to clarify that. So the first resource we want to call out are the promotional flyers. To access these, go down to the mini course resources section within the toolkit. These are great to hand out to potential participants and can be customized with specific referral codes. Wow. Very nice. Okay. And the second is the mini course script. This script was designed for leading mini course classes, primarily with clients, but this may be relevant for anyone who leads staff trainings. It covers what needs to be set up for a mini course class and also provides you with the language needed to introduce the mini course. Just a sneak preview. So any questions about either of these resources, or are there any other resources that we don't currently have that would help with implementation? Please type any of your responses in the chat box.
Okay, so now we can open it up actually for any other questions. So you can either just type your question in the chat box. And also back to the question about WIC. Yes, so we've been working with WIC actually for the past few years to get the mini course kind of officially accepted as a resource for WIC. So that is in the works because we've received a lot of feedback from local WIC departments that they would love to use this as a potential kind of training or class with their clients, but they need that state level approval first. So that is in the works. And we recognize that it is 10:47, so for those of you who don't have questions and need to jump off, please feel free to do that, but stay around if you have any questions. Marianne, so has anyone required the mini course when registering clients at a food pantry? I have never heard of that, but I think it's a great idea, assuming that your clients do have access to a computer. I know that some pantry sites might also have computer labs that might make it more feasible, but that's a great idea that I've never heard of. And then Zubaida, if we want to add our own pre-post surveys along with yours, how should one go about that? Let's talk about that offline. I don't think we can embed it into the existing mini course, but let me know kind of what your requirements are or what data you need, and maybe we can figure out how to make that happen. Donna, can we use the promotional flyers at the farmers market to encourage parents to learn more how to shop and cook for their children? Donna, that is a fantastic idea. Yes, of course. Teresa and Ruby, thank you. You're very welcome, and thanks for taking the time to join. We'll wait to see if there are any more questions coming through. And again, we're an ongoing resource for both of you, so we're putting up our contact information. We're more than happy to help you figure out ways to utilize both of these resources. And Robin, yes, this is a NEOP approved curriculum. So all of this, has been approved. We were actually funded by CDSS to do this. Okay. So, we'll see if anyone has any more questions. I see someone typing. Nope. Okay, so thank you all again so much for taking the time to join us today. Don't hesitate to follow up with any questions. We want to be an ongoing resource for you. And hi, Christian. Yes, we hope so much. We hope that we can see you soon too.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Okay. Bye.